Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, and feral cryptids. My name is Joshua Manning, otherwise known as Josh Squatch, aspiring storyboard artist and writer. In celebration of getting 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 subscribers, I asked all of you if you had any questions, both for me and the lovely array of weirdos I created. Say hi, everyone.
Hello. Do I have to do this?
Hello.
Hi, hello, whatever.
Hello.
Why, hello there. Hello. Is this thing on? For the docket today, we're going to start off with the lore overviews, then move on to frequently asked questions, then funny one-off questions, and end on questions for me personally. If you want to skip around, I have timestamps for each section of the video, but enough preamble, there's already going to be enough yapping in this video. Let's get started with a little refresher course on all the stories featured today. Who is Olive McGuire is the story about, Olive McGuire, an anxiety-ridden 17-year-old living in the city of Taro Hills. She was found in a cardboard box on the side of the road at the age of 7. Her head shaved, and surgical scars all over her body. She was taken in by Detective Virgo McGuire and her husband, Matt McGuire, and was raised alongside her adopted sister, Zoe. After the media circus that surrounded her discovery, she has grown a tendency to stay away from the limelight. However, one day at school, a mysterious creature attacks, and she finds out she has previously unknown powers. Motivated now to figure out where exactly she came from, she began investigating the rabbit hole that is her past, with the help of Zoe and her best friend, Pixie. In the process, she finds out that shadowy monsters called Dusks are invading the city, creatures of the night with various powers and motives, all hailing from the alternate dimension of Nightingale. This leads her to take up the superhero mantle of Void in order to combat these creatures and protect the people. She soon finds many conspiracies throughout the city, all seemingly tied to Nightingale, her unknown origins, and a mysterious and ancient creature who only calls herself Crow. The Revolver is the story of Eddie Armijo, a former soldier that's also known as the Revolver, due to him changing personalities whenever he fires his gun. These personalities include the stoic and serious vigilante Abel, the violent drunken brawler Dallas, the pacifistic and religious Dr. Gideon, the mischievous and thieving mastermind Barnaby, and the posh and pampered aristocrat Ellie. Eddie wanders the planet of Shard, hoping to find and get revenge on the person responsible for his strange condition, the foreman of the secret wartime program, Armament Evolved. However, his progress is hampered by his condition, as his alters all have different goals whenever they take control. Accompanied by Ricochet, a metahuman from the other side of the war, he tries to find a way to make peace with himself. Requiem of a Reaper is the story of Byron, the Reaper of violent death. Tired after centuries of witnessing the most gruesome ends possible, he craves to see more to life than just the death of it. He ends up getting his chance when he runs into the young vagrant Jillian, who ends up stealing his hourglass full of souls. After realizing she is living off of scraps, he decides to become her guardian, even though it goes against underworld law. This brings him into conflict with the other Reapers, specifically the Reaper of Criminals, Thanatos. Now on the run from the underworld, Byron tries his best to find a good home for Jillian, and takes care of her while under pursuit from Thanatos. White and Red is a fairy tale retelling in a fantastical forest during the 1920s. It follows Garnet, aka Red Riding Hood, who has grown into a strong lumberjane in the lumber town of Redwood, and hopes to finally bag herself the infamous Big Bad Wolf, Rudolph. However, during one of her hunting sprees, she runs into the city-slicking jazz singer Finn, aka Snow White, who finds himself alone in the woods cornered by Rudolph's werewolves. After saving his life, Garnet's granny decides to also try and teach Finn in the ways of the lumberjack, making Garnet his teacher. The two now have to learn how to work together as lumberjack partners, as they go around the magical forest and deal with various monsters, as well as their own hang-ups about themselves. Alright, now it's time for the frequently asked questions, with the stars of our show, Olive and Crow!
So, what are the origins of Olive's costume?
Well, I originally had a much more homemade outfit. Just a hoodie and jeans, as well as a medical mask. The witch motif came from the fact my sister worked at a spirit Halloween and she thought I needed more of a theme with my outfit. We really only chose the witch costume because it was on sale. Eventually, this costume just appeared on my doorstep. Don't really know from who. The only thing with it was a note that just had an eye on it. The star symbol on the costume is based off of the scars on my hands, since they seem to be tied to my powers in some way. Exactly how, I'm not sure, but I'm looking into it. Thought it would be nice to take back something I've often been teased for as a kid, turn it into something bigger.
Tell me, what is your favorite music?
I personally like Imagine Dragons, with my favorite being Whatever It Takes. I try to listen to it before my superheroing, since it puts me in a more energetic mood to take my mind off of the stress of it all.
I am personally a fan of Isham Jones. The man could sure conduct an orchestra. I often hear his songs in my dreams.
Wait, you have dreams?
Well, I'm always in a dream, even if they aren't technically mine.
Okay, what are Olive's powers and where did she get them?
I have no clue where they came from. They just started one day. I'm trying to figure all that out. In terms of what I can do, I am able to manipulate the gravity of objects. I can use it to walk on walls, turn off gravity on things, create gravity wells. It's pretty fun. I can also turn invisible, which I mainly use to get out of social situations. I think that's it.
Oh, that's not all.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Like I would tell you. I thought you liked solving mysteries.
What are Crow's powers?
I can turn any dream into my playhouse, rearranging their mindscape into whatever scares them most. Because of this, I can see people's deepest fears and desires.
Luckily, she's only relegated to the mind. She has no significant power outside of dreams, aside from hallucinations and minor manipulations.
Well, that's what my little helpers are for. From the Corvids to some certain people I've made offers to. They are all my eyes and hands in the physical plane.
So what is Crow's height and gender?
Let's just clear up both your genders, just to be safe. Both Olive and Crow are female. Height, I'm not sure. I never measured. Just hold still for 1 second.
You may never know my height. I am a noble. I am fear itself.
And I am your creator, so sit still, young lady.
What is behind Crow's mask?
Who said it was a mask?
How's Olive's health doing?
I haven't been sleeping well, for obvious reasons. Other than that, I'm fine. I eat plenty, although probably more than the average person. My powers tend to burn a lot of calories, and every time I finish my superheroics, I am starving.
Okay, so why does Crow target Olive?
Because, as pathetic and miserable a creature as she is, I need her for my plans to come to fruition.
Who says I want to help you?
Who says you have a choice? You'll break eventually, my child. They always do.
Hey, knock it off. This is a neutral, non-canon zone, so play nice, you two.
Why did Olive want to become a superhero?
Trust me, it wasn't my first option. This job is incredibly stressful and oftentimes terrifying. But I feel a responsibility, since I am the only person who can deal with the dusks. Besides, I know what it's like to be afraid and alone. I don't want anyone else to feel that way, even if it means feeling it for myself instead.
Is there some sort of connection between Olive and Crow?
Well, the thing with that is, Crow is actually... Hope that clears things up.
Who is Olive's strongest foe?
Physically strongest, I think that would be Ward. He's this big prison guard who wants to lock up dusks that venture out into the human realm. He thinks I'm a dusk because of my powers and tries to capture me on the regular. He punches like a semi and he can summon chains to ensnare people. I haven't really been able to beat him, just escape him. But to be honest, the one that scares me most is Crow. I've never beaten her, I can't escape her, and I have no idea what her motives even are.
Oh, you flatter me, my child.
So, how are Olive's grades?
They're okay.
What is Crow's age?
You never ask a woman her age. That's just rude.
Does Olive have a crush on anyone?
Well, there's this one guy I know. His name is Howie. He's a pretty sweet guy. When he's not transforming into a werewolf and tearing up the city. But he did help me out of Ward's prison once, even though he's technically one of his guard dogs. He's nice, I swear.
Does Crow eat?
Sadly, no. Even though I can conjure all the food I want in the dreamscape, it's never fulfilling. I do plan to change that one day.
What does Crow do in her free time?
I peruse people's dreams and turn them into nightmares. It really is great fun. Technically, it is also my work, but with a job this fun, I feel as if I've never worked a day in my life.
Does Crow pay taxes? This question was asked more than once.
I guess I am a bit behind on that. Last time I did them was in 1924. I doubt the IRS will be able to do anything about that, however.
Are there other heroes besides Olive?
Sadly, no. I'm in this alone. The only person I can really count on is someone named Providence. He sends me strange clues, and I think he's the one who gave me the costume. Don't know much else about him. Hope he does send more help soon. I'm kinda drowning out here.
What is Crow's plan?
Oh, you don't need to worry about that.
What is Crow's backstory?
You don't need to know that.
What is Crow?
Listen here, mortals. The only things you need to know is that I am powerful, I am patient, and I am your worst.